again.
Okay. We are live. Welcome to Breathing for Warriors with Dr. Belisa Vranich and myself. And now you might think, but listen, wait, I'm not a warrior. Well, that's not true. Everybody's a warrior in their own way, right? You have to, if you want to be a great mother or father, you have to be a warrior. If you have to be great at your job, you have to be a warrior. And what we don't want to be is want you to be a worrier, worrying about everything. But guess what? Worrying gives you anxiety, PTSD, all that crazy stuff. Breathing helps tremendously with that. Yes. And we're all going to talk about that. Um, before we start, I would love to tell you also, if you guys are interested in the Breathing for Warriors course, which you can find on breathingforwarriors.com. It's a 3-hour course that Dr. Belisa and myself we shot. Please note that we donate a portion of the profits to Operation Recovery. These are great people. I mean, they support the veterans, first responders. They work with our allies, like in the Ukraine support right now, getting people still out of Afghanistan, emergency response, you name it. OperationRecovery.org for more information. And now, just let this thing get started. That's what I want to do, right, Doctor?
Excellent, excellent. I am not a worrier. I'm a warrior.
See, and me too. Although sometimes I worry a little bit, but that's only a few times.
As a psychologist, I tell people worrying is not planning, because people mistake that. They think, oh, well, I'm worrying about something. It's actually productive. And actually, if you can look at the two things and say, well, worrying is actually, eats into my confidence. It takes up time. It's not productive. But planning is different. So that's the distinction that you should make. There's my psychology 2 cents for the day.
On a Sunday too. Unbelievable.
On a Sunday,
that's
exactly.
Great advice.
Okay, so we have a ton of questions. We have questions coming in, and I don't know, boss. You decide which way do we want to go.
Oh, gee, it's a lot. I mean, can you make more body action systems, guys? We're going to start really throwing this okay. So I will throw in a fight question here and there, but let's see if we can keep the focus on breathing, since breathing is very important in everything we do. And we talked about it last week. If you saw us by any chance, 95% of us are breathing wrong. I was breathing wrong. I was always telling the people, I can actually show you a video of that. You know what? Let's do that right away. Watch this. Watch this. Look at me breathing here. Watch how I start raising my shoulders. He's doing it in the background. So it's kind of a slow motion. The video goes a little slow, but here you see I'm constantly raising my shoulders. And that kind of breathing is not good. You can get up to 5 times more oxygen. But every time when I see this fight and I think about breathing, like what it is now, completely changed my life. So that's why we're shouting it from the rooftops. We just want everybody to understand that what good breathing, solid breathing, correct breathing can do for you.
How old are you in that video, boss?
Let me see. That was in 96. So 31.
31.
I'm 31 years young. Yeah.
We have an executive producer, Jari. So you're going to hear me yell out to Jari every once in a while. Do we have any pictures of boss with hair? I want to see boss with hair. Because I've never known you with hair.
I was a model.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
Yeah.
No, were you really?
No, I do. I was, but that's a long time ago.
Yeah. Wait, what did you model? Wait, we're going to see.
Oh, look at that.
Oh.
Look at that guy. Look at that guy. I was 17.
Get out.
I was 17 years old.
Look at
Crazy,
that.
right?
What did you model? Like sweaters, obviously.
Yeah, that was what was it? It was Masita. It was they got me for like 6 years in a row for their clothing. But I was working a lot, actually. That was the 3 women started this agency, and somehow they really liked me. So I was working like 3 days a week or something. And that was, at the time I was 19. It was like $1,200. Oh no, $1,750 a day. So that was, for me, that was a lot of money. And I think like 1,100 was a half a day, something like that. So I was making really good money at a pretty young age.
Look at that. All right.
Yeah. until I started showing up with shiners, and
Yeah.
they didn't really appreciate that. So then
No.
it was gone.
All right. Okay. So let's get to some of the questions that people mailed in. Boss, do you have those with you?
I do have some questions here from Ricardo.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How many days a week do you suggest doing the exercises in Breathing for Warriors? Thank you, is what he says.
What do you
Well,
think?
well, yeah. What I would say, every day is always good, but it's like working out. If you're attacking a certain amount of groups, muscles, the breathing muscles.
Yeah.
So giving it rest is a really good thing to do as well. So I would say like 3 times a week. Would be optimal for doctor? What do you think?
I don't think the diaphragm, and then we talked about this last time, is that the diaphragm actually weakens quite quickly when you don't train it. So I would say 4. And again, because your inhale muscles and your exhale muscles are different muscles, it's not the same. Diaphragm isn't inhale and exhale, it's just inhale. Is that you can train inhale muscles one day, exhale the next, and rest. Obviously, you need to recover at least 1 day a week, maybe 2 tops. And actually, I'm looking at a question here from Scott. The Prussian is, does O2 training help with COVID lungs? And I want to address that. Is that yes. If right now a study came out, I think it was just yesterday, that showed that at least 36% of people that have COVID have long haul COVID. So their symptoms are persisting. I love breathing exercises post-COVID. I mean, if you did them before COVID, you're in better shape, obviously. But if you are feeling the 2 most common symptoms of COVID, which are breathlessness and fatigue, sometimes dizziness, doing the breathing exercises is going to help you. It's not going to help with healing your lungs necessarily, but it's going to make sure that the muscles that bring air into your lungs and push it out are strong, and you will feel a difference. Boss, you have anything to add about that?
No, yeah, it's the same thing. I heard so many. I was talking about Leo de Machida. He was working out. He was actually doing inspiratory muscle training with the O2 trainer, so his breathing muscle for months in a row, and he had COVID, and he left me a voicemail message, freaking out, and he said, I once COVID was over, I waited 3 days, and then I started sparring with my students who are now professional fighters competing in the UFC and Bellator, LFA, all these organizations. He says, boss, I was outworking everybody. I never knew, my breathing has never been so in control. He says, I had no clue. I said, dude, you're talking to the same. I had no clue, until people start telling it me. Yeah, it's a big difference. And for COVID also. And you already said it. It's not going to do anything for the lungs itself. A lot of people think, yes, it's not dangerous for my lungs. Breathing exercises don't touch your lungs at all. They just work the muscles responsible for opening up your lungs. So you never have to be worried about doing something bad to your lungs. You're just using muscles that's already are there.
Except for the hot water bottle. Be very careful with that.
Don't do that one. We talked about that last time. Those guys, those crazy guys who blow up those rubber hot water bottles.
Last time we were on. How do you say that in Dutch?
Kruik. Een waterkruik. Water crook. I don't know. Kruik. Well, I don't even know the direct translation into English for that.
It sounds like something in IKEA. All right. What's our next one?
Red. Somehow.
Do you have that in front of you? I don't have the questions in front of me.
Oh, I do. Yes. Yeah. It's funny that you ask. Okay. So from The Mind from Robert, are there any natural supplements that you recommend for endurance? You have anything, Doc?
You know what? So I think we should look at this question kind of, from a macro view, which is people want supplements. They want to take things. And what you have in order to be able to control your body, to be a better fighter, to be healthier, both physically and mentally, you already own it. So that's what's a beautiful part about breathing, is that you can affect your inner game, your endurance, your precision, your recovery, your strength. You can do so many things without having to take anything. So, supplements are good if you don't have a good diet. However, in this case, there's so much you can do with your own body and your own training of your breathing muscles that I would say no. I mean, there's probably some supplement company out there that would love for us to say yes, but honestly, if you work out your breathing muscles hard, you will see how your endurance will get better. So you don't have to buy anything. You don't have to take it every day. You don't have to recycle the container. And that's the beauty of this.
Yeah, and what I would say, if you're an athlete, a high performance athlete, you sweat a lot, so you use a lot of electrolytes and potassium and magnesium and all that kind of stuff. Maybe that and the only reason I'm saying that is you want to keep your muscles relaxed. As soon as they are tense, or your breathing happens by chest expansion, right? And a lot of these fighters or any other athletes, they make mistakes like the last 12 days before a fight or before any performance, you should never do power training anymore. Because once you make all the muscles tight around your body, like you're bench pressing. I saw a guy bench pressing the day before a fight. I go, dude, you shouldn't be doing that. Because then your chest cannot expand. The more you can expand your chest, the easier it will be for your lungs to fill up. Just always think about that. For any endurance athlete, stretching your chest muscles, the intercostal muscles, all the in between the ribs. Actually, on the breathing course, Dr. Belisa Vrenic and myself, who shot Breathing for Warriors, breathingforwarriors.com. Boom, there you got a plug. We spent a whole part on that, on stretching, how to stretch your breathing, the muscles around your breathing muscles, so you have maximum chest expansion. So that's the only thing I would say. If you lose a lot of fluids because of training, yeah, you might add some electrolytes and magnesium and potassium to keep those muscles relaxed so they can expand very nice and relaxed.
Hey, do we have a picture of the rib cage? Because I actually do want to talk about intercostals. We got a great question about intercostals, and I want to be able to show that. Because
I got a video. It's without the sound, but you see some words. But you can see. Here we go. How the breathing works. This is bad breathing. This is raising your shoulders. To me, it looks a little. It slows down and maybe a little bit in speed. This is from the side. You can see this as well. When you just raise your chest and you don't open up at your diaphragm, but you build the lower level, and you'll see this in a little bit with correct breathing, then you simply cannot fill up your lungs. As you can see, the lungs there, they don't all the way come down. You see they're still up there above the third rib, so to say. It's going to switch to the back as well here. And the same thing, you don't see the lungs all the way coming back. Now, in a little moment from here, this is where correct breathing is going to come. Let me see if I can speed that up a little bit. Because it's a big difference. Oh, you see, it's the video, I think, together. I think there's a lot going on.
Yeah, it's no worries. But what I want you to notice on this is how far your lungs come down in the back. It's really wild how you don't think about your lungs going all the way down your back. You have lungs all the way, like if take your hands right now, 4 inches above your waistband, that's where your lungs start. So you have a lot of lungs in the back. That's why it's really important to be able to breathe circumferentially. So, hey, I just want to answer TB asking about supplements to lower blood pressure. Is that breathing correctly is the best way to lower your blood pressure. And there's so much, we don't have a piece of research on that in the can right now, but I can pull that up and put it in the show notes, is that there's a lot of research that has shown that if you breathe well, if you breathe mechanically well, you can lower your own blood pressure without any medication. So please make sure you take the breathing IQ and make sure you look to see that you're breathing well, because you can do that on your own. Again, no supplements, and at least reduce your medications. And Boss for President 2024. I second that, man. Boss, you should run for president. How much?
The problem is I've not been born here. Otherwise, I would have ran. I would have taken the whole thing. It's listen, me and politics. It's not going to work. You're going to have to lie a lot, and I don't like to do that. So I stay far away from politics. You see what's going on in the world? It's insanity. I don't want to even listen. I don't even watch news anymore because of it.
No, I don't watch the news. But hey, Jari, can you throw up that the intercostal picture for us? Again, most people think, oh, okay, so, and I don't know if you can make it any bigger, but take a look at the space between the intercostals. Like, there is so much space there. And that's, oh, sweet, you're the best. Okay, so think about that between all those ribs, you have muscle. Most people don't think about this, is that, like, again, when you say there's over 10 pounds of breathing muscle in your body, and that's actually a number I came up with by adding up all the small numbers that have to do with breathing muscles and putting it all together, and that's what it came out to. But between those ribs, you have actually 3 layers, but for the explanation, let's talk about 2 layers of breathing muscles. The one on the inside brings the ribs together, and then the one on the outside pulls them apart. So that's a lot of muscle in your rib cage, and your rib cage is actually supposed to be flexible. And as a fighter, you're going to get hurt less with a flexible rib cage. So I know that's a little counterintuitive if you think that, oh, if it's like it's hard and it's braced, I'll get injured less, but it's actually when it's hard and it's rigid that you can get hurt. So those are the muscles in between. And if you're breathing vertically, you're doing more of a movement this way, up and down. And it should be this way. So this is a great picture. That's pretty gross, pretty gnarly looking.
Pretty gross, yeah.
Yeah, it brings home the point. Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right, what else we have?
I saw a question really fast coming by for a guy. He says, how long do you have to wear the auto trainer for high altitude, to mimic the same? It's not the same. Nobody can say that. All these products out there who say that, it's simply not true. There's less oxygen in the air. That's what high altitude is. Now, don't get me wrong. And there's a lot of published medical journals that will say that training your breathing muscles will definitely help with high altitude because you'll be able to move more air in and faster out of your body. So this is a very important thing. So, and with the auto trainer, we don't like to run with it, which you can. This is how I cured my own asthma. It stopped from there. But right now we're doing breathing exercises that Dr. Belisa showed me, and they made such an impact. It was just, and it's only 5 minutes a day. So we're not talking about you have to do freaking 45-minute sessions. So don't confuse both of them.
I actually did use something that was a high altitude mimicking device. Okay. And this was back in, I don't even want to say it. This was back in 1983. So I was running cross country, and we had a coach who was, he was super passionate, let's just say. And he actually bought this device, and it was a tank that you would strap to your back. It was not anything you'd put on your face.
Yeah.
The thing weighed a fair amount. And then it had this whole thing that put around your face, but it was a tank in the back. And it would mimic high altitude in that the air you were taking in had less oxygen, and it was difficult to pull in and push out. But that thing was no joke, was absolutely no joke. And again, if I have to summarize everything on high altitude, is that you should live high and train low. Most of the research, the research on high altitude is conflicting. However, what does come through all the time is that if you live at high altitude and then you train at low, or you fight or you compete at low, that's the best combination of things you can have, if you have the choice to be able to do that, obviously.
Yeah. So what the high level Olympians right now are doing, they build a high altitude home at sea level, because they found out that, and especially in fighting or in any sport where you have to make fast reactions, well, the first 2 weeks without less oxygen, your mind's going to slow down. So if you're sparring, you're going to get hit more. I mean, your workouts don't become as productive anymore. And then they realize, wait a minute, if we buy a high altitude home, and we put it on sea level, you live there, do everything there, only your workouts, you go outside that home, and then you still have the red blood cell count. So
Nice. Okay, good. What else do we have?
Okay, what are positions in the body that you should feel when breathing properly?
You know what? The video you just showed is great. I love that video. And I think it's up on both our Instagrams. But when you're breathing correctly, you should feel the middle of your body expanding. That's kind of an easy question, is that regardless of, regardless of what you're doing, if you're upright, is that the middle should expand and contract. Now, again, you may not be able to do that. You may be in a position or a situation where you can't, be that a hold or a yoga pose or whatever's going on. So being able to breathe in different directions is what you want. And when you breathe vertically, with your neck and shoulders, it doesn't leave you a lot of choices. When you breathe horizontally, you can breathe forward, sides, back, and if you need to, you can breathe with your shoulders. So it's about having different choices for whatever position you happen to be in. Yeah.
We have, again, on the course, we talk about that, like in fighting, especially in grappling, knee on belly, right? Somebody pushes you on your belly. What if that knee is on your diaphragm level? Because that's the muscle, the biggest muscle for inhaling. Well, then we teach you how to breathe through the other parts, because you still have three other open parts. If you split your body in like 4 boxes, so to say, and one is covered, well, we teach you how to do the other side. And
Yeah.
of course, this is an easy one because now you can use your diaphragm. But as soon as they start putting weight on the diaphragm, well, you're going to be forced to use chest breathing, but also you can breathe to the sides of your body. You don't have to go up if you're laying on your back. You can also use the sides of your body. 360 degrees circumferential is what the doc has been taught me. You can breathe, and straining those muscles, highly effective.
Back breathing. We had a question about how much the back should open up. And we have a video, and it's actually a video of a friend of mine who's a pro golfer. And he has, his breathing IQ is like a 200 range of motion horizontal, which is an A+. But if we can pull that up, you can see what your back could look like if you're able to open up your back and breathe. So we'll wait until Jari puts that up for us. Hello from Toronto. Hey there. We love Canada. What do I think about Australians? Australians are awesome. What else can I say about Australians? And hey, boss here. Why do I taste blood after an intense workout and not being hit in the mouth? I'm sure has that happened to you?
No, that's not. I will go to the doctor. I mean, something should be wrong. It may, listen, I had bloody noses I can get without being hit. So maybe something like that, but it should not be, it doesn't sound good. If you're not being hit and you still taste blood, then it's got to maybe a wound in your mouth. It's got to be something else. I'm sorry, I don't know about that.
Yeah. So you know what I'm thinking is that I would ask you to spit and see if there's blood in your saliva. Now, if there's blood in your saliva and you haven't been hit in the mouth, there's a problem. You need to go get that checked out. However, if there isn't blood in your saliva, it's probably has to do with the flavor of your saliva, given whatever you're doing. Your potassium is changing, your biochemistry is changing as you work out. And there's something about the flavor that reminds you of blood. So, hey, no holes barred. We can talk about all kinds of weird bodily functions on this live stream. So, okay. What else do we have going on?
How can you gain more movement in your ribs while breathing? Well, kind of touched on that as well, right? Keep them relaxed and stretch them.
Yeah, the stretching. And the intercostal stretch is the one I like the most, but you have to inhale as you stretch. And usually when we stretch, we exhale. But since you're starting to stretch out those muscles, it's your arm over your head, your hand facing up. And when you inhale, you're trying to open up your side here. That's really the most important one. And you can do that up against the wall as well, is trying to stretch your intercostal muscles. Because you might have huge lungs, but if your rib cage isn't going to expand, you're not going to get that lung capacity. Okay. Number one of the COVID symptoms that you have number one symptom that people can't figure out. I work with a lot of COVID people who are recovering from COVID, and balance is one that's really rough. People are having a very hard time with balance. So that's the number one. I, again, do want to make sure that if you're having problems with balance after COVID, is that you make sure, again, that you are breathing in the middle of your body, that you have a good breathing IQ, because the way you breathe affects your balance. So it's not going to affect whatever has gone on with COVID and your balance, which has to do with your inner ear and all sorts of things. But when you breathe vertically, you're off balance. And when you breathe horizontally, your center of gravity actually lowers. So it's not going to fix things, but it's going to help, is just make sure that you're breathing low and horizontally. What else do we have? Oh, I've got a cute, look, Poet's Cane. Thank you for the, thanks for the comments. I don't know, can we see those?
I see a bunch of comments here coming in.
Okay.
I'm awesome. I use your training DVDs. It's what they say. It's not me. It's not. I use their words. I'm awesome.
Okay. Hey, maybe a weird question. We love weird questions here, by the way. So the weirder, the better. Give them to Boss because Boss loves weird questions too. Recently, been having issues taking deep breath, pain in the lungs, even when yawning. Will these exercises help with this? No. If you have pain in your lungs, you need to go to a doctor. So, Mark, go figure it out because pain in your lungs, especially in the back, could be a symptom of something, could be serious. Okay. So please, Mark, promise me you will go get that checked out. Make sure that it's not pain in the muscles in the core of your body. Okay. Because in general, it's hard to feel your lungs. So I'm thinking that, did you do deadlifts yesterday? Did you do a lot of sit-ups? Did you do the O2 trainer forwards and back? In that case, it's the muscles of your core. But if you feel like it's your lungs that hurt, you need to go get that checked out. Okay. All right. What else do we have on our list?
Yeah, somebody said there was any advice on how to. He has a broken rib and it's already 9 months bothering him, which is very hard for breathing because you need to expand your chest, of course. How to heal it faster? It's all about clean living, buddy. It really is. If you still can do it with hard breathing, but even if it's walking or doing something and eat healthy. Most of the time when we're injured, we feel sad for ourselves and then we're going to start drinking and we're eating the bad food and do all that stuff. All that is going to stop you from healing fast. The more you treat your body healthy, the faster you will recoup. There was a problem for many fighters, like including me after a fight. You go party time, but if you have an injury, and you go crazy for 3 days because then you have to be in training camp again, it's not really helping, with your recovery. So eat clean food, drink just water, no sugar, stay away from all the crap, and that should make you heal faster.
So one of the things that happens when you get a rib injury or an injury in the middle of your body is that you will guard it. And that's something that actually will turn you into more of a vertical breather. So think about this, is that you've hurt a rib, there's nothing you can do about it, it hurts like hell. And instead of breathing and moving, you will actually take the breath and put it somewhere else where it doesn't hurt. So as you heal, just remember, watch yourself and make sure you don't stay in a vertical breath. So try breathing horizontally, but maybe more on the other side. Try breathing through your back, but watch yourself as you guard that part of your body that you don't continue to guard after you have healed, because that will lead you, again, to be more of an auxiliary muscle dominant breather, which again turns into someone who breathes too fast because it's a smaller breath. So that's a great question. All right.
Whoa, look at that.
What else do you have?
Well, our questions, I think that they sent in, I think were good. What are positions in the body that you should feel when breathing properly? Well, we talked about that already, right?
We did that one, yeah.
Yeah. See, so the sent in questions we got. We have a lot of questions coming in.
Okay, good. Let's grab them.
Core breathing is the key to tummy. Tummy must expand. Yeah, Mauricio, you're a smart man.
Yeah, and tummy must expand because the middle of the diaphragm, when it lowers, it pushes your abdominal contents forwards. So your belly has to soften. I mean, it doesn't really have to pop forwards. That's just sort of the thing that you do when you're learning. But it does have to soften. And last I have here, I love questions about my dog. Do you see that one?
Okay, where is it?
It is at the bottom of, if you look at, it says questions final in your email. So I have someone ask if my dog is, so I post pictures of my dog all the time. And his name is Henzo. And he is a retired military dog that was a rescue. So yes, he was a military dog. And could we have pictures of Henzo?
There we go.
No, that's my buddy. That's one. Do we have another one? There we go. See, you can see he's call him Malinois. It's a Belgian Shepherd. So and actually in the military, these dogs are used to to jump out of airplanes because they're just as vicious as they need them to be, but however they're compact. So you can actually they do really well jumping out of airplanes. I don't know if we have a picture, but if you you put in Malinois, Mala MOIS, and jumping, you'll see them. They're amazing. They will even jump out of planes. You can train them to jump planes on their own. So super cool dogs. Mine is he's got a spinal cord injury. He's grumpy. He's definitely been through some shit. So he's a pain in the ass, but I really love him. And you, speaking of, wait a sec, the dog that takes the cake as far as being, oh, there we go. See? Oh, I love this picture. Look at him. Amazing, right?
Wow, that is so crazy.
Yeah.
Put him on like a bat suit so he flies through the air.
He's got a whole suit. He's got like glasses on, and it's wild. You see, as soon as they hit the ground, the dog goes off and does like whatever it's supposed to do. So he's tough as a home dog because he's not like, he doesn't really like toys. He definitely doesn't like other dogs. He just wants to know what we're doing all the time. So he's right here watching me, wanting to know like, where are the bad guys? Let's go get them. So it's he's a piece of work. But your dog is a piece of work because he looks so adorable, but he's really Satan inside. Do you have any pictures of your dog?
Yeah, we do. I sent Jerry some pictures, so let's see. Here we go.
Look at that face.
Yeah, you want to come over to him right away. Look at this. Yeah. It was his birthday last week. He's this. We all love this picture the most because he's so funny. Okay. Yeah.
But look at him. He looks like a little toy.
Yeah, but everybody loves him. But they want to come up. Now he's much better. It took like 6 dog trainers. I mean, I have stories. It's hilarious. I had like the 3rd dog trainer came into my house, and I have him on the leash, and the dog's going crazy. And to us, he's the nicest. You can literally eat a steak, and I can take it out of his mouth. He won't matter. He's the sweetest dog. But any person who comes in the house, he's complete on exorcist, right? He goes. So this guy says, "Oh, just give the leash to me." I go, "Yeah, that's what the other guy said too." He says, "No, sir, I'm a professional trainer. I've been doing this for a long time. This is the reason he barks." I said, "Again, everybody says that." I said, "But he'll come." He says, "I know 100%. I said, "Look, she's the camera over there. It's recording. Can you say in the camera that when this dog bites you, you're not going to sue me?" And he goes, "Sure." He says, "I will not sue you if the dog bites you." I said, "Are you certain you want to have this leash? Because he will come." And he goes, "Just give me the leash." I gave him the leash and immediately in his calf, full on. And the guy gave it back. We never saw the guy back. I go, "Dude, I told you like 5 times in a row, this is not going to work." So it's been a nightmare, but now he's actually doing really well. So yeah, still I wouldn't trust him. Certain people, and people who comes over to a dog and does this, like wants to pet him like that. Never do that to a dog. Always let him sniff you and go on. But somehow people think they can just do anything. So I got to really pay attention to this one. Sweetheart, though. He's really sweet.
Yeah, look at that face. I saw him. His head was spinning. His eyes were red. Yeah. That's your dog.
The power of Christ.
Boss, there is a question here about a choke that I don't know the answer. So I'm going to give it to you. What's the difference between a darce and an anaconda choke?
Oh, gee, it's almost, to me, it almost is the same. I always treated it the same. Maybe this to do, and I never looked into that because it's with a gi and without a gi. Maybe because there's differences once you do it with a gi. And since I never in my life rolled with a gi, I don't know the really particulars of that. But most of the time, it's one hand on the rappel or something that makes a little bit of a difference, and then boom, it's a whole different submission. But I would call it anaconda. That's what I always went for. But yes, I always wanted the same thing. Darce and anaconda, very close.
Yeah. Okay, good. Do we have is there anything there on the questions that you want to answer?
I don't know. I'm seeing the darce is under the armpit while the anaconda is around the neck. Oh, there we go. Boom. We got it here.
Excellent. Okay.
Yep, we got the answer right away. Good. Let me see if I can see something. Oh, that was the question. Long period of training. What do you recommend getting back in shape? Listen, I had a long period off of training. What do you recommend of getting back in shape? Guys, I did this after 3.5 years of not competing, and I started training, and the first week was a little tough. Second week, third week, I was almost back to what I was before. Your body is just a really amazing machine. I mean, it picks up. It's like riding a bike and remembers right away, and then you just have to start eating healthy and clean, and then everything will progress really fast. So don't worry about that too much. And the problem, I always say to people, make it a journey. Don't make it a race. You know, people want to, next month I need to be there. Why? Why? You got to fight? Yes. Then maybe yes. But if there's no freaking thing that you have to do, like have to do, take your time. And especially if you get older in age, why would you force it the whole time? Also, when you get older, stop using heavy weights. Stop, be always want to stay in shape. Let it go. Let it go of your ego. What does it matter how much you can bench press? It's like the dumbest thing. Can you knock somebody out? That to me is much more important to me than knowing how much I can bench press. They always ask me that question, which I actually did one time. I think I was talking about last time because I'd always use light weights. And light weights, I'm talking 80 kilograms. We're talking 180 pounds, but I do 30 repetitions. I do a lot of repetitions. So then after a chest workout one time, was a powerhouse. They asked me what I could bench press. I said, I don't know. But, I did a bench chest workout. So it's warm. Let's try. And I bench pressed 435 3 or 4 times. I don't remember. It's probably 3 then when I think 3 or 4 because it's always the lowest number. But, and that was after a chest workout. So you still keep strength. It's not like a bench press 600 pounds. I'm not saying, but I don't need to. Why would I need to? So watch out, take your time, and you'll be back in shape. All these people who started being overweight and they said, they just walked to the end of the street and then that was the first workout. And then every time they do a little bit further. And then suddenly half a year later, they're running a freaking half a marathon. That's in 6 months. And those people were like 60 pounds overweight. You see, it's just doing. I just saw a video of somebody say, just get 1% better every single day. Don't focus too much. And I go, I like that. Yeah.
1%. Then I'd have to figure out like what the percentage is, the 1%. Huh.
That's the thing. Yeah. 365% more after 1 year, though, if you do that. So you can even slow it down.
All right, Jari, if you found that video, you can play it. If not, it's okay. We are going to do this again. If you have questions, again, you can send them to us all over. Oh,
what is that? Yeah, I just showed that because that's a question for you.
Awesome question. Ben, you rock. Pelvic floor is the second diaphragm. We actually have 4 diaphragms in the body. But the pelvic floor is, and we can do, you know what, can we do a specific one on pelvic floor next time, boss? It's a really important topic. So your pelvic floor is the bottom of the container. It's 20 different muscles. It's your bicycle seat. So absolutely, when you're breathing well, it's inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Can you do that, boss? It took me a long time to learn how to do this.
So I can do this. 1 forward, 1 backwards. Try that. You see?
Okay. All right. So this is inhale, exhale. Your pelvic floor is super important. If you're going to be breathing with your whole body, your pelvic floor has to be involved. And that's actually going to help your psoas be more flexible. There's all this push right now with releasing your psoas. And honestly, if you just made sure that your pelvic floor and your diaphragm were kind of talking to each other, you wouldn't need to be releasing your psoas. But let's definitely talk more about the pelvic floor next time. In my first book, Breathe, it's got me on the cover. There's a chapter, I think it's 9. It's a whole section on breathing and pelvic floor, but we'll go over it. You don't have to get it. We'll go over it next week. But thank you for bringing that up. Just remember about pelvic floor, 20 muscles. It's like this on the bottom. It's connected to your diaphragm, and and you need it for your whole body to be breathing well, and for all kinds of things like not wearing adult diapers when you get older, and better erections and hip pain and lower back pain. So we'll go into that in more detail, but thank you for that question.
Yeah, this was just, guys, the UFC didn't exist when I was fighting. True, when I started fighting, it was in September 93. UFC started in November. But then, when I started beating UFC guys over in Japan, the UFC matchmaker at the time, John Peretti, came to Japan to watch me fight, and they invited me to the UFC. So that's when I went to the UFC. So, good day, mate. I'm in. Okay, let me see this one. I'm in rehab for alcohol and weed. I'm still waking up from sleeping, sweating. I have slowed down on salt and eat healthy. Southwest Australia. Um, my friend, first of all, you made the right decision, right? Going into rehab. That's a good thing to do. I had a problem with pain pills as well. Thankfully, I caught it pretty fast. And then I said, okay, I don't like this. Because I realized on the way trip back, I had a 5-hour delay and I ran out of pills. And I was sitting on the plane like shaking. And I go, oh, this is not good. It's something that it's there, but you wave it off. You think, it's not me, until that happened. And that's, I think 3 days later, I said, that's it. I want to stop at this crap. So,
how did that start, Boss? Can you talk about that a little bit? Because I think, at least in the United States, we have such a problem with pain medication addiction. So it's super helpful to hear somebody talk about it and hear somebody talk about their own journey with it.
Yeah. So what happens? Like same in Holland, In Holland, you get, if you have cancer, you have some. That's when you get OxyContin. If you, here, my wife was getting angry at the dentist, wanted to prescribe for my 14-year-old daughter Vicodins. She goes, "That's not going to happen." Now, are you crazy? Who does that? It makes no sense. So after my last fight, I was injured very much before I went into that fight, and it started with 2 pain pills, and that became 4, 6, 8, and then suddenly you're taking 8, 10, 80 milligrams of OxyContin a day, and I go like, okay, this is not good. Apparently, my doctor said I have a really good liver, and it knows how to break it down right away, so you need more. And then I told him, I said, listen, I need to stop this stuff. So I used Suboxone to do that. Suboxone is like methadone, but it's the way it's what you can get from the doctor. So it's all good. What they don't tell you is that you can only stay on that for 10 days or so. I was on it for 3.5 years because they told me it will still help with the pain, and then, but the side effects was insane. I had double vision 24/7. Like I would always see 2 people. I would fall asleep behind the wheel, hitting myself away. I mean, my blood pressure, I would wake up in the morning was 90. Of my heartbeat would be 93 in bed when I woke up. I mean, and then I sweating, and I go, I got to stop this crap. Well, stopping that Suboxone after 3.5 years, it goes into your bones. It's way harder to stop than to kick than OxyContin is. I did it 11 days. The doctor said he's never seen anything like it before. Nobody ever did that in 11 days. How I did do it? I said, well, I kept forcing myself to eat. I did work out every day, which I'm completely crushed. It was a really, my testosterone level, this is funny, is 5. They go, 500. 5. There were 2 doctors were freaking out. They said, how can you come out of bed? Women have 80. He says, guys under 100, they also can go to work. I've never seen 5. He says, it's almost nothing. It's like, I don't know how you do it. So that's when I did TRT for a while to try to get it back up. But then I don't like to be dependent on stuff. So every time I got off, but it wasn't high enough. And now like 2.5 years ago, I stopped, and now it's like 600. So for me, that's good. Didn't touch any stuff for like 2.5 years. Because I always think the worst case scenario, what if a war breaks out or whatever, something happens and we cannot get it anymore. And I have to be here for my family and defend my family. Well, with a testosterone level of 5, there's not going to be a lot of defending, So, yeah, watch out with that stuff. This is the thing. You can be addicted to anything. There is no great story of a person who was addicted to something and who became successful. Not one. He might get lucky. Like and I'm not talking about weed, of course, right? I'm talking about physically that you have to kick it, that kind of stuff. It always goes wrong. So why not stop today? Why say, oh, let's do it next week? So no. Why not today? Stop it. It's not going to lead you anywhere. It's only going to get worse, And once you make that decision, yes, you're going to go through a rough patch. But boy, the world opens up. Like for me, it was like almost like Superman, like when they, because Superman had this nemesis who came. Michael Shannon played him, and he came to Earth. And suddenly on Earth, he could hear all these things. He couldn't focus yet because he could hear too much. That was when I got off of the Suboxone. If people would do just this on their fingers, I would hear everything. I had to wear shades everywhere. My senses were so freaking overstimulating. It was wild. So everything started coming back, and now I'm back into my own body. Best decision I ever made. So yeah, whatever you're doing, whatever you're taking, stop it. And if you can, stop it today. It's nice. It's a fun feeling, but that fun feeling is not the same fun feeling as you had in the beginning, right? We all try to chase that first high. This is actually what happened when they gave me my first testosterone shot after when I had 5. That's when I realized, oh, now I know why these fighters are using it. Because you feel like you're 20 years young. I mean, I was like, what the heck? It's almost like they give you a freaking ecstasy pill and you're feeling so good. But it's, of course, like anything in the world, you feel really good for about a week or 2 weeks. And then that feeling you're not going to get back. Or you have to take higher amounts. And that's when you see fighters taking 16 times the normal amount. Well, I guarantee you that's to get that feeling back. You see, so I immediately knew, oh, that's why they take that crap. And that's why I want to stay far away from it, because like anything else in life, it's addicting. You want to keep that feeling. That's the problem with prednisone too. No, it's really good, but you take it, but it makes you feel really good. You know how many old people are addicted to that stuff? Because it makes them feel good. Killed my career, by the way, because I was taking insane amounts of cortisones when I was a kid, because I was a horrible skin disease and I have severe asthma. And they didn't know the side effects later in life yet. So apparently it affects your bones, your tendons, and all that stuff. With me, it was my tendons. And that stopped my career. And then later on, we found out that was from all the cortisones I took when I was a child. So stay away from that crap. And cortisones, if you need it for something, for an allergy or for like an injury, I say take it. Just don't keep doing it. Because sometimes the first shot makes you feel really good as well. You go, hey, this kind of feels good because all the pain is gone. And that's why pain pills are working so well, because every little ache is gone. And yeah, everybody would feel great when that happens, and you add a little bit of a high thing to it and boom. Now the government sells you drugs on the street drugs. That's what they're doing, because OxyContin is just heroin. You know how many kids are going to heroin because of OxyContin, because they can't pay for the OxyContin? And heroin, this is what the sheriff told me, is $5 a gram. Now, I don't know how many times you can do it, or $80 for an 80 milligram OxyContin. Guess what they're going to take? And now you got kids shooting up on heroin or smoking heroin, whatever it is, and doing the worst things for it also, if they can't pay for it anymore. It's horrible, man. They really need to do something in this country about it.
Yeah, big. I do a lot of work in rehabs, and the recovery breath that we do, the controlled hyperventilation, which is something that's been around for a really long time, holotropic breathing, can help. Again, you should always do it with someone, especially if you're not feeling so great. But doing the controlled hyperventilation and then getting into a meditative state can feel similar. And if you want to read more about that, How to Change Your Mind by Michael Pollan is a great book that talks about plant medicine and breath work. So I'll throw that out. We'll put that in the show notes as well. I think we're almost done for today. How are we doing there?
Just, I'm thinking for the people. It's a book by. I'm looking it up right now. It's Alan Carr, and this guy has like over a 90% success rate in alcohol, drugs, anything. And I know a person who had a big problem because he was drinking in the morning at 9 o'clock. He started, and he read the book, and it's like 2.5 years ago. He says, "Bas, I don't even think about it." I mean, that book completely wraps your mind. It's like, and it has a success rate like over 90%. So you really should look into that. It's Alan Carr, Carr. And then you just Google that and it will pop up for anything, for alcohol, for heroin, whatever. He does a lot of smoking, all that kind of stuff. So look into that.
Yeah. Tyler Durden is here. No way. Do you know when I make a reservation at a restaurant, I'm Marla Singer. So, I love Fight Club, so I'm Marla Singer. So every once in a while, somebody goes, "Wait, are you Marla Singer?" But most of the time, people don't know. Anyway, All right, we will be taking questions that we didn't get to this week. We'll do them next week for sure, especially if they're really cool. Thank you for all the love. There's like lots of love coming in on the questions. And and we've got all kinds of videos and stuff to talk about next week. Boss, I'm going to say bye to you.
All right. Oh, bye.
Otherwise,
I don't know. You're here. You were looking at my back. So you have to go the other way around. Bye.
We'll see you soon.
All right. Godspeed, everybody. Have a great rest of the Sunday. Good.